Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourselves. Weird, wild, wacky world and welcome to another exciting scene in Edessa, season 2. This evening's scene takes place on the road that links Edessa to Timoran. Trundling down the road as many do, this dark and auspicious spring night, perhaps, they will see a small campfire, around which there is a small table. At this table sit two individuals who are sipping tea. Because I like to think wherever they go, they have tea.
Indeed. Evelyn would, just sit there and sip on the tea. She isn't entirely sure why Famoshi has brought her here, but, she didn't question it.
Excellent. Not questioning his eccentricities is step one.
Yes.
I mean,
No.
For the sake of convenience, I'd say that it's a very quiet night on the road, and at some point there's the clickety-clop, clickety-clop, clickety-clop of horse, and the horse is pulling a carriage. And it's going from Timoran in the direction of Edessa. Where are coconuts when you need them?
I think that they legitimately didn't have the budget for horses in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, so they had to use coconuts, and it was really funny.
It was amazing.
But yeah, no. You will just see the two of them, seated by the side of the road, sipping tea.
I mean, okay. This scene is going to end very quickly, I guess. So, how far off the road are they? Like, would it
They're
be?
literally just beside the road.
With a little campfire.
Little campfire. On which there is the kettle that the tea was made from.
And they're not doing anything to kind of stop the carriage?
I mean, we have no reason to.
Okay. Then,
unless I am prompted that it's your carriage, in which case I might do something, but I can't see.
Can she actually see Irene inside the carriage?
Probably.
You've all Spec Spy. You can see what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
True.
You see a little glimpse of that strawberry blonde hair. That is quite unique in this part of the world.
I believe that is her carriage.
I mean, with fucking Auspex 5, you might even smell her. I don't know.
Famushi stands up and he takes 2 steps into the center of the road. I was going to say, in theory, you can get him over. He's got Fortitude 4. He'll survive.
I was not planning to run him over. Irene would never. Irene doesn't know because, she's in the carriage, but the driver would not ride over anyone who's obviously blind. He would probably shout a few curse words, but stop the carriage. And Irene's head will poke out. Famoshi, what are you doing here?
It's a rather lovely night for tea.
You would go outside the city with all the bandits to drink tea on the roadside.
To be fair, if any of the bandits wish tea, I would be more than happy to grant them tea.
Yes, you would. Well, enjoy your tea.
As Famushi walks forward, hang on, I have to see if I have to do a thing to do this. Can I do this at range? Because this would be really cool. I need 2 seconds. For the record, the person who is... Actually, I'll just roll this for the... Which dice roll do you want to use, kids?
I set up in one.
Okay, we're in that case. Oof. That is his Allspecs roll on Irene.
And that is how many successes?
6.
Okay.
And I'm going to do one more, but this is just non-secretary. That's the Allspecs roll for the carriage driver. Is the carriage driver a ghoul?
I mean, I presume so.
I mean, do you
It's
have a ghoul who will
it's
serve?
Ulrich's carriage, so I don't know.
Okay. That's fine. So yeah,
Because she was brought there by his carriage, so I'm going to presume that she was brought back by his carriage.
that's
Oh.
entirely legit. Okay. So he walks around the side of the carriage. Once again, he puts his hand up. The horses actually back away from him because obviously he doesn't have animalism. And he doesn't have an offensive to animals. But so he basically traces his way around the carriage. So he kind of has an idea. The ghoul is there. Irene is there. So right, I need to get this to be politically correct because I get pretty much your information in a handbag. So how's Irene feeling? Right down to her innermost beliefs. Actually, I'm going to check what Aspect 5 actually gives you because it gives you some weird shit. It gives you some esoteric bullshit.
I mean, I could start off with the surface stuff, and we can go deeper from there on.
There you go.
So at this point, Irene is mostly confused because why the fuck would you be sitting outside of this road? Now she knows that Famushi has, like, you know, told Ulrich things that she feels he has no place of telling. So it's not necessarily aggressive towards Famushi. It's, I mean, I guess very maybe like maybe a bitter, the tinge of bitter, so tinge of brown that's kind of like floating through. She is there is silver linings there that are definitely bigger than the brown ones. Well, underneath, of course, is actually quite a lot of blue, love struck.
I have a really weird question, and it's up to you if
Mm.
you give this or not. I think with 6 successes, it might become evident, and I would say it does. Is the love struck getting stronger the closer you go, or is it getting weak? Really, does it feel like you're going away from your lover or towards your lover?
Um, I would say with how Irene is feeling, it's actually both.
Okay, so there's
So
like,
you
so you
wouldn't
can.
really be able to tell.
I was going to say, to be fair, you can be love struck in multiple ways, which is entirely valid.
Yeah.
He No, but he walks around the side of the carriage and he says, "I see that you and Ulrich had the conversation I was expecting you to have."
Hmm. I see. You have anything to add to the conversation?
He stops, just kind of at the window to the coach, so she's still sitting inside the coach. If you get me,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "You are an erratic person, Lady Irene. You don't understand the way that you wish to, or no, you don't understand the road that you wish to walk. But I'm curious as to a number of things. Perhaps you may offer me some semblance of clarity.
You first insult me and then ask if I can give you clarity.
It is not an insult. Many people don't know the road that they walk on.
But being called erratic is never a compliment.
No, it's not. My apologies if I have offered you insult. He will even incline his head.
You have, but it is quite all right. Please ask your questions. And she'll get out. Because,
He brings,
looking down on him, that's not a way to have a conversation. So she'll actually properly get out of the carriage.
he brings her over to the fire and sits down again and will offer tea. Do you want some tea? Good tea.
Thank you, but I'm afraid I do not have the stomach for tea anymore.
Ah, but it will even keep your hands warm. So he will pour you tea just so you can hold it in your hands and keep them toasty warm. But he says, someone recently spoke to me an interesting phrase. They said that Edessa was a cesspool, that it brought out the worst in people. I was wondering if that was true.
She'll, which Fumoshi can't see, but she'll look up, actually contemplating this. I have little experience with canine society outside of Edessa.
No, that's not
So,
that's not what I said. It is
hmm,
not in reference to canines. It is in reference to people, humanity,
which
both
is,
sides of the same coin.
hmm, I have little experience with cities in general, in all honesty. I would not be able to give you a fair assessment of that. I've seen many troubles within Edessa, and it certainly seems a place that would earn that reputation, but I would say it brings out the best and the worst, and it depends on who you are, that which it brings you.
There are some people who view humanity as a good entity, but that people have no value. Humanity as a general whole must be preserved, but people can be sacrificed. The wishing woman, for example, believes that. And as he says the words, how's your aura look?
Mm, I think both love struck and sadness increase. Um, yeah.
For the record, sorry, I wasn't looking at the side chat. Tell him yes, he can, if you'd be so kind. Uh, I wasn't paying any attention. I thought he kind of braced his eyebrow because that was not the reaction he expected. But he contemplates a few moments before he says, do you believe that the individual, the human life, has value? Or is it humanity that has value?
Both. I think each life, no matter how big or small it is, holds value. We were all created under the eyes of God, and I would fight to preserve all life.
He
I have
smiled.
spoken with the wishing woman as well, and a long time ago, before you were in the city, I have told her that I think she's wrong. That she may be doing something that she feels is right, but for the wrong, uses the wrong methods. I've told her this after they set the plague on the city and entered the palace and killed the former prince.
He contemplates and says, "Indeed, just this evening, or just yesterday evening, I was told about the pairing that apparently this individual who names herself the Wishing Woman and a painter
Hmm.
had created this."
I've known of the painter. I've seen her a couple of times, but never have I met her.
Why were
Well,
you? He doesn't quite cut across you, but whilst you're in that kind of line of thought, he kind of looks at you directly. He says, "Why were you sad, Lady Irene? A deep sadness."
why is it that you want to know? My feelings are my own.
No, they're not.
Well, they should be.
Unfortunately, that's not a luxury we can have.
They should not be of your concern.
This city is of my concern, because here
Why?
we do battle with a very interesting foe
Hmm.
who uses your emotions as weapons.
And whom is this foe of which you speak of?
Hmm. You know her name very well, I'm led to understand.
I have an idea that we're thinking about the same person, but I want to be absolutely sure.
Mary the Black. Mathoriel, I think, was her original name.
Yes, I do know her well.
Yes.
How did you get that information?
What information?
That I know her well.
Hmm. Remember, it was one of my clan whom liberated you.
He told you?
He contemplates for a few moments. Truths have an odd habit of coming out.
There's, if you're still looking at her aura, there's like disappointment. It's like kind of taking over everything for a couple of seconds, and then she's trying very hard to suppress it.
Mhm.
Hmm, I see.
I'm also curious as to something. He sips his tea.
She'll stay silent.
The tablets that Lord Ulrich has been so kind as to let me read. Fascinating. Truly, I mean that. For the record, I can only read the translations, but fascinating nonetheless. You have collected nearly all of them that have been collected. Yes?
I would not say it as such. I was present.
I beg your pardon?
I would not say it as such. I was present when they were collected.
Indeed. Almost as if the machinations of fate conspired to put you in the same place as them.
If one would believe in such things, perhaps so.
You don't believe in fate.
That is a loaded question. I
Yes,
am
it
not
is.
sure. I am not sure, but I would like to say that I have been looking for those tablets with interest. Ever since I accidentally stumbled upon the first. Oh, nope. Yeah, no, she will say that.
Okay. He nods and he says, my enemy has been inside you, literally and figuratively, if what I suspect to be correct. I'm curious, how is it that you became the vessel?
I am afraid that I cannot give you an answer to that.
Cannot or will not?
Cannot.
Hmm.
I have no recollections.
It seems to me almost as if you are being shepherded to each one. I do not know why, but the irony that you are there to find each is not lost on me.
Hmm. Perhaps
It's,
so.
it's becoming more and more obvious that this is becoming almost like a police interrogation.
Hmm.
Hashtag sorry.
No, you're not.
I mean, I'm a demon hunter, and unlike Ulrich, I can't be, eye batted away. I'm not gonna. That's what you do. Fucking, what was it? Fucking appearance subterfuge rolls. You batted your eyelids and made it okay.
I mean, we gotta use everything that we have.
That's entirely valid. Exactly what I would do, but god damn it.
Specialty eyelid bashing.
I mean, if you've got the appearance specialty still going, gonna waggle these brows. Hang on, sorry, I just need to check something. Give me 2 secs. So yeah, no. He looks at you very intently for a few moments, and he says, "Do you believe that you and Mary the Black share a special connection?"
Yes,
Why?
many reasons.
I see.
I I'm not sure if she made that connection or if that connection was fate, as you like to put it. But I know most of my visions, the things that I've seen in my dreams, sometimes when I was awake, have been led to her, have been about her. Her past, her future, her present. Her or those who connect to her. Would you kill me over it, Fumoshi?
Give me
Is
like a
that
couple of
clear
seconds.
to you?
Famushi will answer this much quicker than I can. Evan's just contemplating his answer.
Is that why you're here?
To kill you? No. To understand you? Yes. I do not believe, as I said, that you are inherently, currently, at any rate, linked to the demon. So,
Not.
he contemplates. Why do you say you are not with all certainty?
You are right. I cannot say it with all certainty. But I can promise you this. I am not here to honor her. I am not here to help her. If my death would solve the problem that is called Mary the Black, then I would let myself be slain instantaneously.
Hmm. An interesting quandary. Hmm. In this city, we have a number of very powerful, very ancient beings.
Indeed. One of which is yourself.
I am old, but not ancient. No.
Powerful, though. You are.
Powerful. What is power? Power is the opinions of those who view the individual. What I have is skill, not necessarily power.
Mm. You
But
have the greatest power of all, the power that makes ancient people powerful. A certain wisdom, a certain view on this world, and the means to put that will into effect. Whether it is because of a natural charm or because of a lifelong learning, growing, and evolving, the effect is the same. You can change the city for good or for bad. You have that power, if only because of the fact that you are so easily turning Canaanites into your followers. I'm not saying I disagree with you, and I'm not saying that I think you're wrong. I'm just saying that you have that power, and that makes you, for some, dangerous. For most.
you still have not answered my question. Why were you sad? Because that is not a sadness I see often. That is a sadness that goes to the bone. You did something that night, or have done something, or needed to do something. Something that shook you to your being.
I am of no threat to you currently.
I didn't
Let
say
me
that you were.
let me keep my emotions and my sadness. They are of no concern to you. I do not wish to answer your question, because I do not wish to speak out loud.
You have done something that makes your heart heavy. The fact you will not give words to it ultimately increases the burden.
It is mine to bury. Bury? Carry. Wow. Blah, 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 blah. It's late. I mean, it's also hers to bury, in all honesty, but
Perhaps it is to do with the new love that you feel.
Again, this is of none of your concern.
Then it's very simple. He looks at her very intently with those very lifeless eyes. It's one of those moments of he's looking at you in the general direction. You'd almost swear if you couldn't see the fact that obviously the eyes have no sight to them, that he was looking. So it almost looks like he's looking straight through you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "We wander alone because we do not know which path to take." You You feel the guilt as though you have this great weight upon your shoulders. You feel guilty because of this association. You feel as though you must purge it from yourself. You do not know why you were chosen. You do not know why in your birth the stars aligned to make you different. You do not know why it is that some dark god spoke and you shall be, and there you were. But if you keep secrets from those whom care for you and whom would see you with aid, then they will not know how to grant you aid when the time comes.
How can I trust you if you run to my sire instead of to me the moment you suspect something?
Because your sire is a good man, and because it
Yes,
will. Mhm.
and your words have hurt him.
Your actions. Actually, no, hang on. I'm going to just sit up. Give me 2 seconds. I almost fell out of my chair. I was leaning so far back in my chair, I almost fell out of my chair. And he says, "And so I have seen a dozen individuals, their eyes strewn with tears, when it was that people have walked down paths that they cannot return from. Look at me in the eyes." Or rather, no, he won't say that because that makes no fucking sense.
I was gonna say, okay.
"Speak to me and speak the words of your innermost soul."
I will do whatever it takes to keep certain individuals safe. And she says certain individuals, but with your fucking aura perception up the wazoo,
Hi.
it's more like that certain individual.
Tell me then, because he's kind of rabbited onto it at this point. Because he says, "Tell me then, and tell me true, Lady Irene Aguirres, that you love Prince Ulrich most of all."
I know I love him most of all.
Give me just 2 seconds to brain. Because that really should be a deception check.
I mean, no, she's not lying.
Yes, she is.
No, she's not. She is not lying
The blood
because
bond.
she knows the blood bond creates a stronger love. She specifically said, "I know I love him most of all."
Ah, okay.
That's
Cool.
yes.
That's
Thank
how.
you.
Famushi is by far smart enough to get that. Okay. Okay, he says she. But do you feel the most love for him?
And why are you so interested in my feelings of love? Or my feelings of sadness? Or my feelings in general?
Because I need to know that you have not supped 3 times from the demon.
I have not. And I can prove this to you without even discussing my feelings. You think I would be capable of wearing this as she kind of pulls, the cross that's still hanging around her neck, because it's always hanging around her neck.
Haha, he doesn't even flinch, because I have true faith now.
I
Haha!
mean, I am fine with this. Like, she doesn't want people to flinch from it. She just wants to prove that, hey, you know,
Evelyn, on the other hand, does flinch just a little bit.
Just like, "Ew."
I mean, hers is really just a tiny necklace.
But
But, you know,
he will say, you have not then. And that is good. That is good. Ultimately, this is a game of shadows, Lady Irene. A game of lies, a game of half-truths, wherein the ultimate prize is the salvation of this city and all the souls that lie within it.
I'm very much aware of this.
But do you know what it is that Mary the Black plans to do?
No.
Would you like me to answer that question?
If you have the answers and you're willing to share.
Let me tell you an old story. A long time ago, a very long time now, the greatest of my line, the founder of my order, Lord Samael, was the blessed son of Lord Salot. He was a warrior beyond any peer, and he struck down the wicked. That was his great ability, his heart. Then, lost. Have you ever heard? I hope that you never have. I will speak its name once here and then not utter it again. Have you ever heard of the village of Shorazane? Or Chorazin?
I'm trying to poke my memory here.
I very much doubt you have.
No, I don't think so. So, Irene would just shake her head. Which you can't see. And then she'll be like, no, I have not.
It was a fortress built once for the Bali, wherein they summoned Nergal in all of his glory, all of his wickedness, from a great carnal pit that dug its way down with bones and offal and blood. Great power there was amassed, and Lord Samael marched alone into this place and did battle with that evil, and eventually managed to overcome it, even at the cost of his own death, and concluded with his sword the Second Bali War. However, I believe that Mary the Black wishes to gather these tablets that contain shards of a great evil within them, and she wishes to open yet another yawning pit beneath Edessa, to summon up this great darkness once again. And to do so, she will require the sacrifice of the pure of heart.
I see. I always wondered why she needed that sacrifice specifically.
So, after learning all of that really interesting stuff, what's Irene's aura look like now, kids?
Contemplative, little afraid, little angry, sadness, dull. Love is of course still there.
Yeah, you see, it's the presence of all the love. Like, basically, if the love had flickered when you weren't thinking about someone, then he probably would have just gone, that's just a schoolgirl crush, or the love you feel for somebody when it's a genuine, ordinary love. Because you don't always think about love. Like, even if you love someone, you don't
No,
always
it's more
think about
like on. It's below the surface, like
it. But he'll say, so that is what I believe will happen here. So you ask the question if your death would solve the matter. I don't know. It may solve this. It may make it so that this potential future will never come if you go and greet the dawn tomorrow, or it may merely mean that she finds another pawn in another place, and we lose the opportunity to strike her down. Both of these are possible.
the latter. The latter is right.
Ah, how do you know this?
I have my sources and my information. I've been in this city for several years now. Well, two to be precise. All
It's
this time,
ironic.
I have
It's
been
ironic
in
that
the
you It's ironic that you quote a source that has quoted the same thing to me, but you quote the source and you said not to trust it.
What source did I quote that I said not to trust?
The wishing woman.
Hmm. I never said not to trust. I said I do not agree with her on that matter.
You seemed more vehement than that.
I've spoken to her, as I said, the first time after plague hit Edessa, and many people suffered for it. The sight of empty houses, it was terrible. It broke my heart. I was I was but a fledgling at that point. There was not much I could do to help. I tried, but the people of the city didn't know me, didn't trust me. Of course they didn't. Why would they? Strange noblewoman that they didn't know by name or by face. It was a terrible sight. Riverside was almost empty. I've worked hard to give that specific part of the city hope again. And I had seen her before, the wishing woman. Same as the paintress, in a vision. A vision in a house of a Canaanite that was used to in the end destroy the prince, the castle. When I heard of a woman that was performing miracles at Abram's fountain, I went to look and I saw her. And at that point, I addressed her. And I told her I disagreed with her. I think that was over a year ago. I've heard on a couple of occasions that I am. What was the word you used again? Erratic?
Yes.
Hmm. I would like to point out that I'm only 2 years old. Human life is still close, it's still fresh in my memory. I do not wish to see it hurt.
Hmm.
But I never said that wishing woman was necessarily bad. In fact, I would claim that I understand her reasoning and I agree with it. I just don't agree with her methods.
As you say that, I'm probably going to assume like every time she brought up this is that little beep, beep.
I mean, sure.
She is probably. He stands up at this point and he kind of holds out his hand for seeing eye, Evie.
Evie would place his hand on her shoulder.
Thank you. He will say, of all of the kindred in this city, she is probably one of the few who can protect you.
I am not looking for protection. I am looking for a solution.
And what do you feel that solution is?
I am not sure,
That's
but
not
I'm hoping that I'm walking on the right path.
That's a lie. You do have an idea in your mind.
In all honesty, she does not.
Okay, in that case, scratch that statement.
But, it's fine. You can assume that she knows what she's doing. Funny.
Ha, she has ideas. Ha ha.
Right? God.
No, but he says you didn't have to run to her, you know.
And you didn't have to run to Ulrich.
You pointed this out. You are very young. That is how this is done in our society.
Apparently, I'm old enough to be a neonate.
Do you feel that you are?
That is not up for me to decide.
On the contrary, it truly is.
I would request next time you have an issue or you have questions to approach me instead of running to my sire.
Running to your sire implies that I, in some way, would not say to you the same concerns that I voiced to him. You tried to get yourself killed during our little skirmish.
I did not. I merely tried to set right a wrong.
By
Take
using your
responsibility for my own actions.
by using your own flesh as some semblance of stopping block for their arrows.
No. Who else was going to be on that roof, stopping them from running away? I was the one who made the mistake of throwing the shadow. I was hoping it would stop them, but instead it would have made the situation worse if they had gone off the roof. I merely had to stall them. That's what I did.
Do you know why the wishing woman spends her time in Abraham's fountain?
I presume because it's one of the largest wells of true faith in the city.
Correct. But why does she spend her time there?
Could be many things.
I can tell you the answer if you'd like. Considering it has now directly to do with you.
If it is something that you wish to share.
There is one possibility and there is one certainty. The possibility is that that is the place where, if inverted, if desecrated, if caused to fall and falter, that's where this pit will open. After all, there is nothing so sweet to the other side and the denizens that dwell therein, save for faith in humanity, the potential wasted. But also, and more importantly for this moment, it is because if Mary the Black were to engage the wishing woman there, the wishing woman does not know she could necessarily overcome Mary the Black. However, if she stood there in that place, she has the advantage. And now she has the one piece that will draw out her opponent and give her that opportunity. She has bait.
You presume that I am the sacrifice.
Yes.
Interesting. What makes you think that?
Your own revulsion of your revulsion of this individual is more than simple distaste. I despise them because I know what they have done. You, however, despise them because you know what they plan for you. Am I wrong?
I could despise them for what they've done to me in the past.
Yes. However, they have not truly made you suffer, save for one attempt. This goes to a deeper, more personal place. This goes to the bone, to the blood, to the mind, to the soul. You know what it is that they plan. You know where it is you will go. And that is why you loathe them so much so that you speak words like, I would give my life in a moment too, and I would do anything too. You will martyr yourself on the concept of the fact of denying them their chance. That goes to a deeply personal place.
Has Abram told you what happens when he freed my soul from her?
No.
I was in a city. I cannot. At that point, I did not know which. I still would not be able to tell. There was a large crowd, familiar faces, unfamiliar faces. I was carried through that crowd by her to an altar. I was placed on it. I looked up at her, the one that I will still first think of as mother, even though I know that she is not. She had a knife. It was at that point I realized what she was going to do. Abram gave me the choice there. Join her or run away. There was an exit, there was light. Would you believe me if I would say that that choice was incredibly hard to make at that point? The woman that I called mother, that helped me when my own sire had run away from me and abandoned me in the city. Or something unknown, although it seemed friendly. I chose to run through the light and leave her behind. That's how I got back. But I will not forget that altar, nor that moment, nor those feelings. If I am to be a tool, I will never be her tool. Being a neonate means that you can pick your tool. Well, the tool that you wish to become.
You will just be a tool for those who seek to destroy her.
If that is my place, then that is my place. I will accept my role in this. I know that I cannot defeat her. But I might as well help those who can.
And that is why you went to the Wishing Woman.
Will you now run again to Ulrich? Break him?
Why is it you have not told him?
He is very protective.
Yes.
And I do not wish to hurt him. But I need to fight.
Without saying another word, Famoshi turns and he kind of he starts to he doesn't push Evie because that would be really rude, but he kind of nudges, intimating, "I want to go now." Like, yeah.
Evie would follow his nudging, as she's not going to make him push her.
But when they walk around 10 feet or so away from the little fire, for the record, the table, the only thing he takes with him is his teapot and his cups, which he puts in a small satchel. He'll say, "You do love him the most for what is true love, not love that is forced upon us. Did you mean that?"
What I did because I do not wish to lose him. Because I do not wish to hurt him.
But your actions have hurt him more than truth ever could.
If
He
he
walks
lives,
he
then that
walks the
is
same
enough.
path. He walks the same path that I do. I think that he would have understood the necessity that sometimes when you fight darkness, you need to do extraordinary things. Do not lie to him. That cheapens what he is. That cheapens the feelings. That cheapens the sentimentality. That cheapens you and that cheapens him. As to me, I will not speak of this. I will not breathe a word of it, on my honor. However, this is a path that you must take. This is a wrong that you must rectify. For what you have done is a wrong. He does not deserve this.
I know. And Irene, I mean, I'm not sure if Famushi can see her aura still, if he's still looking.
He's
I'm not.
not facing you, he's facing away, so he can't
Yeah,
actually see it at the moment.
she just looks exhausted at that point. For what it's worth. You are right.
You are more than bait. You are more than chattel. You are more than a tool. The fact is that we become blind to these things as we grow older. We see seeing people as people and start seeing them as blood to harvest, numbers upon a sheet, or people to be pressed into our services. We cease seeing them as people. See Ulrich not as Prince of Timoran, not as in the Lasombra of elder blood, not as your elder. See him as a man. And
I
ask,
see him as my husband.
and yet you spit on the concept of that with every untruth that you, with every lie that you tell him.
You can think that. And I respect your opinion. But I cannot risk his love being greater than his life or the lives of everyone around us. I love him too much for that.
And with that, Famushi will leave.
Yeah, Irene will turn around and get back into the carriage.
Oh, balls the oh. We may have collectively done goofed.
Oh?
There was a ghoul sitting right there.
I mean, he was far enough away. Come on.
I was about 10 feet away and shouting.
Irene would have sent him away.
Okay,
Like,
valid.
further away.
Okay, valid.
Doesn't matter that she has the celerity run a mile to catch up with the fucking carriage.
We did not done goof. It's fine, guys. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Totally thought we goofed there.
We kind of did, but as long as
I mean, worst case scenario, there's dominate and it's not pretty, but it is a thing.
I mean, to be fair, I said that to Bishop, and he was like, "Oh no, Ulrich is failing his empathy." Was my response was, "You actually rolled. I would have just dominated her, asked questions, and then made her forget."
Mm.
Because I'm an ass.
I
But
think that's the great point to end the scene with that statement.
you're not wrong.
I know. Well, thank you, players, for playing. Watchers for watching. La di da. Bye.